Hi everybody. In this video, we're going to read the next chapter of Enemy Spy. Chapter 9, Busted. In the morning, Mom was real nice when she woke me up. Nolan, she was stroking my hair. Nolan, honey, it's time to get up. For a minute, I forgot that I was mad at her, and that she'd been mad at me. The way she was stroking my hair felt so nice. Then my dad came in saying, "Hey champ, I think I figured out what road you left your bike on." He had a map and squashed my leg when he squeezed onto my bed to show me. "Ow," I said, and rolled towards the wall. Boy, did I sound grumpy. Mom stood up and said, "Come on, Nolan, you can do better than that. Help your father find your bike while I make us all some breakfast." So I sat up and looked at the map. "Where?" "Well, here's where Mr. Green lives," Dad said, pointing. "And if you follow the river this way, the first road you come across is this one, Blackstone Way." I studied the map, trying to figure out where I'd gone wrong. But then Dad said, "If you'd stuck to the road, you would have been home free, Nolan." He pointed. "A quarter mile max, and you would have been on Leeward, then vroom, straight out to Old Town." He shook his head. "I still don't understand why you left the road. Do you have any idea how dangerous that was? How could we have ever found you? What were you thinking?" I shrugged and looked away. It did seem really, really stupid. That's because I couldn't tell him the truth. "Well," Dad sighed. Then he stood up and said, "I'll go out there and see if I can find your bike." "Can I go with you?" He looked at his watch. "You won't have time before school." "So? I'll just—" "No. You will go to school like you're supposed to." He said it real sternly, then took a deep breath and said, "If I can't find it on my own, I'll take you back out there after school." "But—" "No ifs, ands, or buts, Nolan. Just tell me which side of the road and how far from the bridge you think it is." I could tell I wasn't gonna get him to change his mind, so I started calculating out loud. "If you're walking toward the bridge, it's on the right side of the road." And I walked for 45 minutes. "How fast?" "As fast as I could." I thought for a minute. The fastest I'd run a mile at school was 9 minutes. Call it 10. If I was going even half that speed, I'd be going 1 mile in 20 minutes. That made 3 miles in 60 minutes. 3 miles an hour? Geez, some kind of superhero. Finally, I said, "It's probably about 2 miles from the bridge." "Good enough," Dad said, folding the map. "I'll do my best." He slapped my leg. "Now hustle up." "Uh," I said when he reached the door. "Thanks, Dad." He turned to face me. "Thank me by not pulling a stunt like that again." "It wasn't a stunt, Dad." "Well, whatever you call it, don't do anything like it again." I looked down. "I'm sorry. We'll talk more when I get home tonight, okay? I know you're mad about Shredderman, and I do understand that. For now, try to see more than just your side of it, okay? We'll figure some way to work this out." I nodded, but I didn't believe him. Working it out meant lying low. Boy, if they knew what was going on, I'd be in some boiling hot water. I did lie low at school, though, even lower than usual. I didn't even play Foursquare or go to the computer lab at recess. I just went down to the swings and sat on the edge of the sand, looking at birds peck around the lower field. Then out of nowhere, my dad showed up in the cafeteria at lunch. He sat right across the table from me. It was strange to have him suddenly appear in the cafeteria, but I could tell something big was on his mind. "You couldn't find my bike?" I asked him. "Oh, I found your bike all right," he said. "It took me nearly 2 hours, but I found it. And I got the flat fixed too. It's back in the garage, good as new." "Wow, Dad, thanks." I was really happy. From the way he was acting, I thought for sure he was gonna say my bike was ruined. But it was fine, fixed, ready to ride. So why was he frowning? "Dad?" I asked him. "What's wrong?" He was looking around. "Why are you here all by yourself?" "Huh?" "Oh," I shrugged. "This is where I eat." "Every day?" I nodded. "Always by yourself?" I shrugged and nodded some more. Why aren't you eating with some friends? Dad, shh, it's okay. I'm used to it. But, he was shaking his head. Nolan, I had no idea. It was making me feel worse than I already did about having no friends. So I switched the subject. Thanks for coming here to tell me about my bike, Dad. He focused on me and said, I didn't actually come here because of that. I came here because Sergeant Club called me. Uh-oh. I tried to act cool. Oh yeah? Apparently he got an email from Shredderman. Sarge wanted to know if I'd make any progress figuring out who he is. Brother, it'd only been half a day. Couldn't anyone give a superhero a break? Nolan? What, Dad? You're not denying it? I thought for sure it was some other guy pretending to be you. I shrugged. It was you? His lips got tight, his eyes got twitchy. Finally he whispered, What do you think you're doing? My lips got tight right back and made my eyes into little slits. I leaned forward and whispered, Fighting for truth and justice, like I'm supposed to. We stared each other down for a solid minute. Then he stood and said, You're coming home. But, you're coming home. He grabbed me by the arm and dragged me out of there. I had my backpack, but he wouldn't even let me get my homework books. He marched me across school, stuck his head in the office door, and called out to Mrs. Haller. I'm taking Nolan home. Uh, she said, then leaned out the office door, calling, Wait a minute, Mr. Bird. Is this for illness or what? It's for attitude, he shouted back at her. Then he hustled me across the street.